Monster Hunter Wilds has been one of the biggest game releases that people have been waiting for a long time. As a super awesome fresh guy that I am, I decided to try it out for the first time. The game recently released on the 28th of February, and I am extremely delighted to say that it was and still is one of the coolest gaming experiences I've ever had. On the day of release, I decided to stream the entire low rank campaign, and it was phenomenal. From the cool story to the awesome endgame loop, as a new player to the Monster Hunter franchise, there's so much to take in. Honestly, since this is my first Monster Hunter game, I did not think that the story was too mind-blowing. I wasn't sitting there like holy crap with my jaw dropped or anything like that, but I really did like the story. It was okay for the most part, honestly, but I do think it was a really good conductor for learning how the different things about the game would work, like how the fights go or what the bosses actually do. One big thing that I'll say about the story is that the cutscenes were super crazy. One of my favorite cutscenes that I think about often is when you had the scene where you had your senior hunter, Olivia. She came in, she was like, hold my drink. And then she swung around and hit the big fish with the hammer. Unironically, I found myself screaming when it happened because it was so freaking cool. Like, genuinely, I think Olivia is the GOAT of the entire story. Overall, the story was just okay. Like, there's not really too much I'd say about it. It wasn't mind-blowing like I said before, but it was all right. I'd give it probably like a 7 out of 10. Now, moving on to the actual gameplay. The gameplay was super cool. One thing I will say as a newcomer to the franchise, I really appreciate the weapon variety. You have multiple guns, you have a bow, you have freaking swords, spears, big lances, and there's like a bunch of stuff that you can try in a playstyle for literally everyone, and everything looks super fun to play. Personally, I've been using the insect glaive and the sword and shield, and I've been having like such a great time. Honestly, insect glaive superiority, that's my main weapon. Greatest thing ever. I don't care. Whoever thought, hey, let's get a spear, right? But let's have a pet bug that helps you fight with it. They cooked so heavily. I won't be deeply addressing the glitches or anything like that in the story, but I will say the only time that I ever crashed in the game or had any poor performance issues that like made me feel like the game was ass or something like that was when I put on like pieces of gear inside of my tent. My game has crashed twice out of my entire play session, all of my play time. My game has only crashed twice, so not too big of a deal, honestly. I don't know why it crashed specifically there. Like, out of everything, it crashed specifically there. But yeah, no big performance issues from me. I guess one minor one, for me at least, I know a lot of people are mad about it, was the FPS values kind of being wonky. I'd get 50 to 60 no matter where, like what my quality was, which is really odd because I have like a 4070 Ti Super, 32 gigs of memory, and an i7, right? I shouldn't really be hitting this 50-60 cap even at low settings, but like no matter what I do, I can put my settings to lowest or put my settings to highest and still stay the same. So I'm thinking it's just more like maybe they're trying to optimize more for console, something like that. Anyway, I want to talk about the game's fights. Throughout the game's story, the fights are introduced in a way that make them really engaging. Some fights hit heavier and feel cooler than the others, while the diversity of fights could be improved. They still do a really good job at creating the like really exciting battles with the big monsters. Interestingly enough, I find more enjoyment in the weapons used during the fights than the monsters themselves. Like, for example, when fighting one of the monsters that don't have like the really big flashy animations or anything like that, I ended up focusing on more what my weapon is doing and then like how I'm getting those flashy numbers that pop up on my screen. And I think it's a lot cooler than like half the monsters in the damn game. But just being able to see myself, you know, doing all these cool moves, these flips, these like swings of the blade, really awesome. Most of the like higher tier fights are really cool. Like Jinder Mahal has some cool mechanics and things like that. But outside of that, everything below that, they're kind of just average. Not too mind-blowing, but very cool overall. Like I said before, high tier fights, especially the tier 3 ones, some of the coolest things ever. Like just seeing these big beasts jump around and like you fight them and you'll clash with your swords and things like that. I just think it's really cool. Now, moving on to one of my favorite parts about the game, the multiplayer experience. Multiplayer experience has been super cool. Initially, I spent a lot of time solo during the campaign and my hunts, but as the game progressed, like as I beat the story and then got to the later game, I started playing more and more with my friends. And genuinely, I think the multiplayer cooks so hard sometimes. Like a lot of time when I spent my time solo hunting, I was like, okay, this is cool. But they have this feature called SOS where you shoot out a flare and then you'll get either NPCs or random players to help you with your hunts. And I think it's the coolest thing ever. Like you have 4 like little people running around fighting this giant beast, and you can see everybody doing their flashy moves and things like that. And then everybody kind of has a role in the group. Not really, everybody's a damage dealer damn near, but like there's times where one person is about to get one shot, but your teammate is in the back healing already. If they have like something called life powder, they'll just sprinkle it in the air and then boom, you're also getting healed without having to step away from the fight while your teammate was already out of the fight. So I genuinely think the fighting with your teammates and things like that is super, super cool. Now one ick, I forgot it before, but one ick that I really did have with the multiplayer, I guess you could say, or with the gameplay in general, is while doing the main story with the friends, it really sucks. Like I tried it, maybe a little bit, but it doesn't work out. So basically what happens is during the like story, like when you first see the boss and you're about to get into the quest, you'll start the quest, unquote, and then you cannot automatically be put into the quest with your buddies, right? So what's gonna have to happen is one of you, if you guys are both doing the story at the same time, one of you is going to have to back out of the fight, like run away from the monster, and then accept your friend's SOS flare request, and then it ends up being a little bit clunky, but overall you can still kill the bosses and complete the missions together. It's just it's a little bit awkward, but it's manageable for sure. Overall, I think the multiplayer experience is super awesome. Group fights are fun. Everyone using flashy moves, things like that, like the mounting and the clashing with the monsters. It's cool just to watch that stuff and be a part of the fight yourself. So not really any big complaints from me. I'm really happy with how it is. Super awesome. Now, the end game is probably one of the most addicting things that I've experienced in a long time with these games. I feel like it's super cool because there's 3 main goals to the end game from what I know. You have your artisan weapons, which are like special weapons that you can craft by getting pieces from each of the bosses and things like that. You have your different little armor sets and things like that, and the gems that go alongside them. Gem hunting is kind of like a pain in the ass, but it's like a mini gacha game, dog. Like you'll be hunting, you don't get the gem that you want, so you just gotta keep freaking hunting and over and over and over again. And I find one of those things to be like super addicting because you're just doing the same thing over and over again, but each time you're getting a slightly stronger and stronger and stronger as you progress your gear. I'm about 50 hours deep into the game, and I do find the game to be really fun and addictive. It's the only game I played for probably like at all since the release, which has been like 5 days, 4 days now. But I have about 50 hours. Super happy with my experience so far, and I think genuinely I have at least another 50 hours, at least minimum another 50 hours before I take a break on the game. There's definitely a lot of content to explore in the game, plus big content updates are probably going to come because I know they have something planned in April and things like that. So I think genuinely overall Monster Hunter Wilds has the potential to become one of my all-time favorite games just because of the different mechanics and everything like that. So I'd rate the game fully maybe like an 8.7 or a 9. With the regular updates and then like new people always joining in, I'm excited to see how the game evolves. I hope Capcom continues to pump out this cool content that I've already experienced. Kind of like how a live service game would do. I'm pretty sure this is considered live service, but I'm not too damn sure. But I really hope Capcom is consistent with how they have been or how they will treat the game. And yeah, really happy with the overall experience. That's all I really have to say. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy this video or this little review or whatever the hell you want to call it at all, yo, please be sure to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel and you're just seeing me for the first time, I'm just a guy. Well, yeah, I'm just a guy that doesn't really know what he's doing, but I'd like to have a little bit of fun. I love this game, and I love you guys. Thank you guys so much. Peace out.